Oh, yes, we are live.
Boom.
Took a couple of snaps there. Welcome to episode 25 of The Weekly. And this week, we're a little bit short-staffed, but we still have Mr. Juan Bagnell from Pocket now.
Bam, West Coast coffee. I'm going to steal Warren's line. Let's do this.
Yes, Mr. Warren Bowman is not around right now. He is enjoying some races at NASCAR. So he'll tell us all about it next week.
We could probably even jump to he's enjoying NASCAR shenanigans.
Yes.
Warren is absolutely the kind of guy to get up to some shenanigans.
Yes, that's probably what he's doing. And our good friend, of course, Mr. Black Iron _ man will be joining us later on. So let's get the things rolling. Uselessness of the week. Pokemon Go related accidents.
Oh man. I mean, so we make fun of people for like using their phones and not paying attention. And then when you give them something to pay attention to their phones more to, apparently accidents become even bigger and funnier.
Yes. People have fallen down. I've seen people just walk, in the middle of the street. There was a case of two men who fell off a cliff. Playing Pokemon Go.
I mean, because like after like the first day, we were talking about who was it? There was the young woman who found a body under a bridge.
Yeah.
So, we were like, oh man, there's all this urban exploration. We're gonna, maybe these events won't be super uncommon. But then it really became more about what kind of dumb things are we going to expect people to do when they're out and about with.
Yeah, there's another one I saw on my Facebook. Some girl had an accident because of Pokemon Go. She's blaming the game, and I'm like, you're supposed to look before you cross the street or before you walk into the pond. Yeah, people have walked into bodies of water because of Pokemon Go.
I'm totally guilty of being that guy who trolls like deep dives into YouTube to find videos of people like falling down open manhole covers because they're looking at their phones and stuff. So I'm hoping that these are being chronicled, by other people around them. Like
I don't think so. I don't think so. That's the thing. And we'll talk about the usage of Pokemon Go really soon, but I don't think so. I think everyone who's around them is playing Pokemon Go. That's the thing. I mean, Pokemon Go is so huge, and I guess our uselessness is not that serious. It's just more like, please, if you're playing, pay attention, stop, try and catch it, look out, look up, walk forward, and then move. Don't do this.
Well, do you remember back when we were getting all of those hack news stories about how dangerous it is to like walk around with your phone? I mean, I'm talking like 5, maybe 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Back when smartphones were just becoming more prevalent, that there were a series of apps that failed, but they were trying to do things like activate your camera so that while you were texting, the background of your phone was an open video feed from your camera.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it was super raw, super rudimentary. It never would have worked on that old hardware. But I think we've gotten to a point now where we could start incorporating more stuff like that again. The whole point of Pokemon Go is sort of getting you to interact with the world around you. Why not start pushing variations of Pokemon Go where if you've got the phone power, the hardware power to handle it, we can really start expanding on those augmented reality.
I mean, you can actually view it within your environment. So I don't see.
I mean, like I'm seeing people driving around with a Pokemon Go open in Los Angeles, and it's a mapping interface, right? I mean,
yeah,
so that's not good. I mean, so that like okay, so my idea there won't fix people driving around because when they're driving around like this, and they're like holding the phone down, so like cops will obviously know they're using their phone, but they're trying to hide it. So what I'm saying though is that like when we look at the next generation of Pokemon Go and we start seeing phones with better augmented reality capabilities, this to me sounds like like we can address some of the poor behavior by improving the app, and I'm hoping that the developers are looking at how to kind of go about that too. But ultimately we need to make any kind of distracted interaction with society somewhat unfashionable.
Yes, definitely so. I definitely agree. Anything else? Any uselessness? Any mini ones to add? Or we just move on?
Well, I didn't have a direct uselessness, but I was wondering what were your thoughts on the recent slate of stories coming out, like Consumer Reports just recently came out and said about Tesla's Autopilot feature. It's not a self-driving car, but it's sort of like a really advanced cruise control with lane guidance, and you can use it to change lanes and stuff like that. I was wondering what your thoughts were about the recent outcry for Tesla to either disable it or at the very least to rebrand it so that it's not called Autopilot, because that might be causing consumer confusion.
I definitely agree. I think Tesla needs to pull back on it because, and Sam, thank you for joining.
Hey, Sam.
I think it's one of those things that you're right. Maybe there is some consumer foolishness involved.
Oh well, there's definitely some foolishness. We've seen those videos, like the guy who was asleep behind the wheel.
But the thing is that you need to. I think they need to rebrand it in such a way and call it, super advanced cruise control or whatever you want to call it. That it's not autopilot, because autopilot reminds them of a plane where the pilot just walks out of the cockpit and he's drinking coffee out there and chit chatting with people. So you might want to take that off away just because you're going to have user error cause a lot of things, and it looks like some of these accidents are caused by, well, it's not definite, but it looks like user error is involved, at least to some degree. So I would agree that they maybe not take it off, but they need to rebrand it or re-educate Tesla users. Because this is something that just pertains to them, and I know the process of even just test driving the Tesla. They talk about they go through so much detail in the car. So you might as well use that as an education process and say, look, this is what it is. This is what it does. And call it something else instead of autopilot.
I kind of feel like if any engineers can kind of work through the human behavior on this, it's got to be Tesla engineers. And I wonder if there's not a situation where maybe they just really do need to. As you guys know, I'm a super futurist. Like, I want to push the boundaries as far as possible, but so I'm driving around in Southern California, and my Nissan has a radar-assisted cruise control, which works amazingly well. I tell it I want to be 3 car lengths behind the car in front of me, and even on the freeway, if that car comes to a complete stop, the cruise control will not only come to a stop, but then also close the gap a little bit so that I'm not obnoxiously far behind someone when we're at a dead stop. Works so well. You never have to touch the gas or the brake unless it's sort of an emergency situation or if you need to make a lane change. But I always have to keep my hands on the wheel because there's no lane guidance. So it's not like I can ever let my attention wander. It's just I don't have to play the mentally exhausting game of stop and go in Southern California. And so I wonder if maybe Tesla can't come up with a solution, because I think Tesla's autopilot is actually a really not good middle step between driving a car yourself and then having a self-driving car. Because the second you take that lane control out of the hands of a human, I kind of expect that you're going to become much more easily distracted.
I would disagree on that aspect, especially just driving with it for about almost an hour. Is the lane guidance? The thing about it is, to me, it's just human error, because after using it, it's like any other cruise control mechanism. Once you touch it, you gain control, right? Once you touch the wheel, you gain control. But within the parameters you set, this thing will obey the laws of the road and will do everything. Will stop, will stay in your lane. You just have to basically pay attention to switch lanes by putting the trafficator on left or right, whichever way it is. So I think it really just boils down to user error than anything else, and it's something you just can't take away, because even it's one of those things where it's like if they take away the lane guidance, it becomes your car. Literally, that's what it is. It becomes
lane guidance is still informative to the operator of the vehicle. Just like in my car, I don't have any type of system that actually navigates the car to stay in a lane, but I've got a ton of sensors on that thing that's still feeding me information about what's going on around me. So that's all still super, super helpful. I just always have to point the nose of the car where I want it to go. But what I mean is, so let's say this system is built on the in-car navigation, or it ties to your phone. So if I'm taking a cross-country road trip from LA to New Mexico, to go visit family or something, I don't know why you needed to know what the premise of my visit was.
No, I mean, you're giving us a story. Go ahead.
I'm so tired right now. Oh my god. So then that's a situation where the car can become much more autonomous. Because as I'm driving through Arizona, you're like, there's no reason for me to bother keeping my hands on the steering wheel. But when I'm in, when I'm trying to make that 101-405 interchange, like I kind of need to be razor sharp.
So you're saying that it should be tied to your GPS navigation if you're plotting a course.
But to find solutions like that, I think this system delivers so much information, which is good, that we can find solutions which are case appropriate for the driver. Do you know what I mean? It's not just I turned on autopilot, so now it's autopilot. It's I'm going to be in a really long driving situation. Maybe it's this. Maybe the population density, if I live out in like Montana, it's not nearly as precious if I'm as razor sharp. But if I'm in New York, like, autopilot maybe isn't necessarily the best near fully autonomous system for me to be incorporating when I'm trying to deal with New York or Boston traffic or something like that. So it's really more like, are there ways that we can find the tier, like how much control does the driver need to input to how much control can the car take over, and it needs to be a spectrum as opposed to like on off, if that makes sense.
Anything you want to add, Sam? Any thoughts?
Well, I think people are using something that is quote unquote a good technological advancements to keep everyone safe. They're using it incorrectly, and that's basically what it boils down to. With what Car and Driver? No, was it Car and Driver? It wasn't Car and Driver. It was Consumer.
Well, Consumer Reports put out the biggest, we think that this needs to be deactivated. We think it needs to be rebranded. It needs to be reworked. And I appreciate
what they put out is a little bit jumping the gun on their end, right? Because they haven't even seen the results of all these crashes that are being attributed to Tesla's autopilots, and they're making a huge leap saying, "Take it away." That is the most ass-backward solution to a technology issue, right? They have the first issue with the Marine, who most likely, people are saying, was a speed freak. So the potential of him basically driving too fast was already there. You have the issue with, the other one in Pennsylvania, where it's possible. Actually, no, Tesla came straight out and said autopilot wasn't even on for that crash.
Yeah.
And the one where there was another one in Montana, and they're basically saying the individual driving the car ignored every single warning from the car. So how is this in any way, shape, or form Tesla's issue?
Well, here's where this situation becomes a lot more nuanced and a lot more complicated than I think I am qualified to comment on. Because Sam, you're not wrong. We also know that humans suck, and this is why we can't have nice things. You know what I mean?
Cars for us.
Like if we were talking about like electric golf carts with a top speed of like 15 miles an hour, then
people still find a way of crashing that into this, okay?
So like exactly though, but like what damage you can get into in that when we're talking about a vehicle that does 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds is tons of metal and steel and battery, and
2.9.
It's a 2.9
0 to 60
for 0 to 60 in
the Tesla.
Oh, and 2.9, really?
Mm-hmm. It's faster than the Porsche.
Damn. I'm behind on my Tesla stuff.
When you're doing it,
that kind of like reinforces my point a little. So unfortunately, and I think this is why, because I've been hypercritical of the automobile industry for being so resistant to change and for incorporating changes that I think are moronic. Like the touchscreen system in my car is terrible. It's terrible. It's a terrible thing to operate to try and use when you're trying to operate a motor vehicle. There's no tactile feedback. It's very slow, so you don't know if your button press went through until like a half second later. And a half second when you're driving a car could mean the difference between rear-ending someone or not. So,
you know the thing. I'm not sure. I have to check or ask. I'll say it was a Tesla owner, my friend, is we know very well, like high-end Mercedes and BMWs, you know, your 7 Series, your S classes have advanced braking systems that will stop the car without you caring about what you are doing.
My car does too. Yeah.
You know, and I don't know how that applies with Autopilot. You know, that's the thing. I mean, in a case where you are, or even as you're driving with the Tesla, you might be going towards something or hitting another vehicle, and that applies. So maybe that's something that they could implement in addition with Autopilot that keeps it safeguarded in terms of.
I'd be surprised if they're not already doing some type of advanced.
Yeah, but it didn't. I mean, it had the slowdown features and stuff. But then again, too, like the one way when I was using Autopilot, after I got used to the fact that the car was driving on its own and I didn't have to do anything, I realized that the only way I would have an accident is if I touched the car. The only way
or if someone went out of their way to hit you.
Yeah. No, that's of course, you know, a movie. But the only way that I could have any kind of issues with Autopilot is, one, if I was kind of, you know, chatting with someone else and I just kind of like, you know, hit the wheel and it just, you know, it swaved off or something like that. Or two, there is some kind of weird software glitch that's going on. You know, that's the other issue that you come up with. So again, like you said, you know, as human beings, we tend not to have nice things because we don't know how to use them properly in any form of fashion. You know, so I think that's where I think user education is probably the best bet for Tesla, and maybe a rebranding just so that, you know, people don't get confused, because I guess people get confused.
You know, it's just whether or not, because again, it kind of goes back to what Sam was saying, and then my point there too is I think we can have all the education in the world, and unfortunately, we'll still have that make this conversation harder for all of us. It's like the same thing. Like, I think Google Glass would have had a much better reception if the first batch of people who had it weren't the first people who had Google Glass.
Oh, you mean the douchebags? Yeah,
not necessarily the douchebags, but people who just did not know how to, you know, tactfully apply privacy in their lives.
Yeah. Well, and instead got like really indignant about it. Like, that's the wrong reply.
Oh, I bought this thing for $1,500.
No, dude. Remember
but Google picked, you know, Uber geeks with way too much money to spend. That was
Sam. Remember the girl we saw with Google Glass who was kind of walking around like, you know, Jesus gave her wine from water. I mean, I was like, it's not that serious. You know?
Oh, it's a big deal. I have Google Glass, and you don't.
I'm like, you just walk around being a perv, woman. Okay?
Yeah.
So until we can get, I really don't think we solve any of these problems until we get to fully autonomous cars, like fully driverless cars.
Until everyone uses fully autonomous cars.
I was thinking about that.
And then
I think
I will be Will Smith in iRobot, and I would stable it, and I would drive 600 miles per hour.
I'm telling you, man, it's all about Asimov's Law Zero. It's the Law Zero that's going to mess you up.
Yeah, I know.
It supersedes Law 1. So if you're out there to harm humanity, then they've got to take you down, even though it's a violation of the first law of robotics.
Okay, let's move on to other things. All right.
But real quick, and I'm sorry, like, because I know we're flipping around here, and this is already running longer than we probably should have let it run. But Sam, I was wondering if you had any thoughts, real quick, on the Pokemon Go accident situation, since we were just talking about people being irresponsible with cars. What do you think about people being irresponsible with Pokemon?
We need to basically nationalize or basically officialize the Darwin Awards. You know, these people should be given the Darwin Awards and just told, you know what, we'll leave you there for a while. It's just survive over 24 hours. Then we'll come get you. Seriously, it's ridiculous. I'm reading articles about people walking into lakes. Okay, so this is the problem, right? I'm walking down a pier. Oh, wow, now the texture of the ground has changed from soil to wood. No, but I'm not paying attention. I'm going to keep on walking. No, this could not really mean anything. I'm looking at this. Oh, wow. What the fuck is wrong with people? I'm sorry, but that's just stupidity. That's just pure.
I think AT&T and Samsung should start running ads of the Galaxy Active as the only true rugged, all-terrain Pokemon Go phone. Okay.
But in all seriousness, there is I think people should be more cognizant of what's going on around them. Being so involved in a game to where you actually put your own life in jeopardy, crossing the street when you don't have to in order to find a Pokemon, it's a little ridiculous. I don't think this is something that we need government warnings or we need extra big placards with neon signs or huge noise or whatever to get people to pay attention to. I think it's just a simple courtesy to everyone else around you to be aware of where you're going, even when you're whipping out your phone to try to do stuff. It's just common human decency. You know, don't walk in the middle of the street without looking left and right. I learned that when I was like, what, 3, 4 years old. You know, there was a song we had about that in freaking elementary school.
For some people, it's been a long time. They need to take that song again and, you know, have a little class.
Because for me, my worry is that person who's driving the car and he's paying attention on the street and all of a sudden is totally traumatized by some Pokemon Go player who runs into the middle of the streets simply to get a Pokemon Go whatever. How did that person feel? Oh my God, I basically potentially harmed someone for what? A digital fantasy item? You know,
I needed a better Pikachu. All right.
Yeah, a level. I don't know what the level is.
It's a really big
level up.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Let's move on to the company that makes, you know, Pikachu and the rest of them. So, I posed this question to Sam yesterday. So I'll start off with you, Juan, because we were talking about it. Is this the rise of Nintendo? Because we know Nintendo is really dropping nothing this year, other than, of course, the miniature NES, which we'll all buy because it's $60 and it comes with 30 games. But they have no clear hardware or software for this year until, you know, Zelda comes out, you know, March next year, and Pokemon Go has jumped Nintendo stock from like $19 to like 32, 33.
Oh yeah, I mean the market cap was raised by 10 billion, something like that.
Yeah, I mean it's so. Do you think this is Nintendo's resurgence, considering they didn't even make this game? Let's just even call it what it is.
Well, but isn't this what we've been talking about for Nintendo for years? They've got IP to license the damn IP. And so to send it out to the people that did Ingress was a brilliant business move.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that this is indicative of a rise for the company. I think Nintendo got very lucky with great timing in an era right now where we're sort of in the doldrums for gaming. We're waiting for new hardware to come out. We're all very interested in the future of VR and AR stuff, and so they just happened to land on the zeitgeist. Because we have to know that this app was in development for a while, that it wasn't just something that they cobbled together really quickly.
No, it was. Yeah, it definitely was.
No, but I mean, like, they didn't just put it together, let's get on this virtual reality buzz thing. Like, that's not Nintendo. They're not that prescient.
I think just quickly, one of the things that helped the app is, in a weird way, I think the things that happened in the U.S. the last week, you know, the month of July with the shootings and everything, and this is so different and so... and you know, it's very social.
It's a very feel-good story.
Yeah, because you know, you have people meeting other people and, you know, going out. Like, it just kind of landed at the right time, I would say, for them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I'm not. What I'm saying is that I don't think Nintendo had the foresight. I'm saying Nintendo got lucky that they landed at the right time for this app to really, really blow up. And it is in the absence of other Nintendo news, so that this became an even bigger talking point about a Nintendo property. What's funny about the little Nintendo Mini thing is my wife saw a story about it, and she wants one. You know, she wants that old school Nintendo look by the TV. She wants the old school Nintendo controller. It's not like she hasn't been playing, you know, Super Mario Bros. on other types of devices through software that is probably not legal. But she doesn't. I mean, it's only 30 games, but she kind of looks at that $60 price point, and that for her, that seems to make more sense than trying to pick up like a much more expensive Nintendo console or a portable Nintendo console, which is also going to be much more expensive, and not ever play any of the games for that system.
Yeah.
So, since her primary games are things like Punch-Out and Super Mario Bros., why would she... That's like perfect for her, you know? Like, this is... this is a solid buy. So I think Nintendo is going to be able to coast on this nostalgic tour for a little while.
Yeah.
But really, this is all kind of building up to, can they deliver more experiences which are just as relevant to consumers after this Pokemon situation? You know, that's where Nintendo is still in delicate territory. They need to show that they can continue driving the market, not just responding to the market. Just everything else that we've said about companies like Apple and Samsung and everything else is, the way we use services is changing. And I don't think many of the top dogs fully understand the ramifications when something like augmented reality is going to fundamentally impact every service on our phone, every game that we play. There are rumors that like Rockstar is stripping parts out and looking to rebuild parts of their next Grand Theft Auto. You know, just some of those little leaks, whispers, hints, rumors, so that they can really capitalize on augmented reality too. You know, like, it's weird to think people are going to want to play Grand Theft Auto out in the real world.
Nothing bad is going to happen.
Nothing bad could happen with that.
A game called Grand Theft Auto, known for the violence and just ludicrous behavior. No, nothing.
No, see, I think if you're going to do that, it would be missions based on you collecting data outside, and then that will link up to your game. I don't think it's going to be, if they were smart.
A version of Assassins, that would be awesome. Have you guys ever played this game, Assassins?
No.
Where the whole idea is you basically have to touch someone, or you can play with water guns, or you basically have to hit someone with a water gun, but you never know the name. So a bunch of friends come together. Everybody puts a name in the hat. Everyone picks out a name. Whoever name you pick is the person you have to assassinate. So you basically have to watch out for all your friends in any situation that might require them to be close to you.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there have been variations of that game for a while, and there were also ones where, I mean, like, some friends of mine were playing it in high school where there were actually like mob bosses, and so they would like seal up names in envelopes, and that would be your next target. And
wow.
It was like really kind of in depth, but then again, I also played with a bunch of silly LARPers all the time. There was also a movie. I think Anthony Edwards was in a movie. I'm trying to pull it up right now. I think it was Gotcha. You remember those water pistols that had like colors, that the colors would vanish?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think there was like a movie. Not like it was a tie-in, because I think it was like like at least a PG-13 movie, but it was like a tie-in where he gets caught up in this game of espionage and assassination, and it's like the same name as this toy water gun that sprays you with vanishing colored ink. I'll have to see if I can pull it up. It's kind of ridiculous, but yeah, there have been a number of silly games to play like that for a while.
Yeah, if they incorporated something like that, that would be actually kind of interesting. You know, it would be a little like a snarky way of saying, hey, you can do something fun outside. But if you made it, you have to go to this location and you have to do this, you have to boost the car, then it might get a little bit of an issue. But yeah.
No, I mean, they could still say...
Yeah, there it is. It's Gotcha, 1985. It's Anthony Edwards with hair.
Huh.
He started out trying to score and ended up being the target.
Oh, God.
Okay.
And not trying to score with a woman laying down, reclining with her legs in the air. Yes.
Such an 80s poster. Such an 80s poster. All right, let's
got away with so much, man. I'm sorry, they got away with so
much. Yeah. So let's move on to the PS4 Neo specs. So I have the link in there in the description, guys, for this, but the link is dead now. It was taken off.
I couldn't pull it up, so I don't even know. You guys are gonna have to tell me what the specs.
But I'm gonna screen share and I'll show you, because I still have it and I captured everything. So fear not, Thunder E saved the day yet again. All right, so here is the screen, and here is hardware specs for Neo. This is from slide out presentation.
Or ported hardware specs.
What is that?
It's not basically been confirmed by Nintendo. So.
No, by PlayStation, no. But this is official PlayStation documentation here, and what we see is that the rumored specs match what this documentation is saying. That the Neo will have 8 cores. It will be clocked 1.3 times faster at 2.1. It will have 36 CUs for the GPU, and will give you about 2.3 teraflops, which, according to Microsoft and their Scorpio is benchmarking at 6 teraflops. Uses the same 8 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, and the hard drive will also be the same in terms of the type of hard drive. Now, a couple of things they mentioned here is that it will, display 4K for 4K owners, high frame rate, more stable frame rate, improved graphics, things that you would expect. For compatibility, there was some more stuff talking about the fact that game makers can actually patch their games to play on the Neo for better graphics as well as also 4K performance. So basically, I'm sure it'll be bigger titles, bigger PlayStation titles, stuff like Uncharted will probably get that bump for the Neo. And then this is the timeline they had for it. So it looked like the timeline was always a 2017 release date, because this is Dev Kit 1 all the way to 2017, Test Kit 1, Prototype, Test Kit 2, and there's another chart that said that after Test Kit 2 is when launch will happen. So with that timeline, it looked like that was always the case. But from the specs, it also looks like that's why they went back to the drawing board or didn't announce anything at E3 because of what Microsoft basically put out. Now here's the part I found interesting. Said, in terms of buffer display resolution, some interesting resolutions here. I mean, 3680 by 2070, 3520 by 1980. Some of the other slides are talking about, the first dev kits, developers weren't able to get proper 4K, so they tried 3520 by 1980. I don't know, That was interesting to see. But with the second dev kit, they were able to get it closer to 4K and cap at that strategy. So just seeing all this, what do you think? Do you think they were highly affected by what Microsoft announced at E3, or at least that announcement of Scorpio? Maybe that's why they changed plans in terms of announcing the console itself, or do you think that they will still stay with this strategy that we've kind of seen here, or they will make some improvements or bumps? So I'll start off with Sam.
I think it's basically a response to what Microsoft is doing. At the end of the day, they're going to have to keep up on the specs for it, because what Microsoft came out with was a pretty impressive specifications for the what's it called, the Xbox One.
Scorpio.
Yeah, the Scorpio. Good name, yeah. Because most people's argument, most people who came out and said, "Oh, how Microsoft is losing the war," the complaint was, don't create an Xbox One S, because you're gonna have the Scorpio come out and just basically eat its lunch. But that's basically saying Microsoft is beating Microsoft. That's awesome. But right now, PlayStation is not really, like, from what you've shown, they were not expecting Microsoft to have such a robust offering for specifications, and I think it's even made more difficult the fact that Microsoft is releasing something in the near future that's going to have, marked improvements to your gaming with your HDR and all the other features, or also 4K video that you're going to be able to do with the S, even before Scorpio comes out. So for me, I think even the S is a competitive to the specs that you showed us right now. So they really need to go back to the drawing board and kick things up a couple of notches.
All right. How about you, Michael?
Well, I guess like the thing I would ask, because again, I'm not as much into gaming consoles as I used to be, but I would wonder, when we say that, do we think that they're responding to Microsoft? Do you mean in terms of the question? Do you mean in the hardware they're putting out, or in the way that they're putting the hardware out? Because I totally believe they're responding to Microsoft in terms of the timeline, but I bet that this is probably the hardware that they've been working on for a while now.
Oh no, I mean in respects to E3 and timeline. That's what I meant.
So, oh, okay, yeah.
So
then, absolutely. They're playing catch up. I think they were probably a little surprised by what Microsoft had there to announce, and so this is their way to try and close the gap. But it just still kind of goes to the point where the improvements that we're getting on console stuff is, I don't know, like I just haven't been that excited to hear about what these follow-up consoles are going to bring, and they feel like that sort of middle step console. So it's not like it feels like a PlayStation 5. It feels like a PlayStation 4 Plus.
4 and 5, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely does. Which is that's why I said it's it's one of those cases where when we first saw the rumored specs of the PS4, and we're like, the RAM is still the same. You just increased the clock. You just overclocked your system. That's what you did. And you haven't done anything new. And then Microsoft announced, like, no, we went to developers and said, what do you need for 4K gaming? And they told us this, so that's what we're making. And then they tell you it does 6 teraflops, which is equal to or slightly less than the new RX 480 graphics card. And that's when I was like, oh, that's the AMD card, they just threw it in there. They basically just did that. So I'm like, all right, it seems like Microsoft just said, you know what, we can't beat Sony right now. We might as well just jump forward and call it a day, and make that $600 gaming.
But I mean, even like Sony's response here doesn't engender that much confidence, you know, and it kind of like I'm in this wait and see mode still. Like you guys know, I still have a PS3 under my TV, and I never felt like there was anything super compelling about getting the PlayStation 4. I didn't feel like it was such an improvement that, you know, like I had to have one. So I was like, well, once they stop making games for the PS3, then maybe I'll make the jump. Well, they've kind of stopped pushing PS3 games as aggressively, and I still haven't felt like. And it took so long. Now I'm looking at, like, you know, a PlayStation Neo, and I'm still not seeing stuff that's so compelling that I've got to get it. And instead, I'd rather just take whatever money I would have put into a PlayStation 4 and just throw it into my workstation PC
and call it a day.
It's gaming's prowess and be happier there.
And you see, and that's the thing, because yesterday I got a chance.
Get the Vision on PC. Let's all play together. Oh no, not you, E.
No, forget you. Just because I'm stuck, I can't get that one pistol, so I can get to 160 on Division.
So, are you guys playing the Division? I heard that was terrible.
It is a terrible game we love to hate. So
oh, okay. So you're sort of hate playing it.
No. See, I like the Division.
I love the game. It's the bugs.
Yeah, there are bugs in the Division, but the cool thing about Division compared to Destiny is when you're playing with the crew, it is fun. It feels like you're playing with the crew. So the game may have issues, but when, you know, like I play with Sam, Gary, and Femi, I'm the worst player in the group, which is fine. I just need them to resurrect me each time. That's all I need. So you hear me go, "Save me, save me."
Right on.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing, right? I think we've gotten to a point where there has to be some kind of synergy, some kind of interconnectivity between our consoles and PC, because we're being asked right now to either dedicate, or should I say, to basically choose a side, console or PC, and Microsoft is going more towards the bent of we can all just play across all systems, even though it's coming out now that promise might be a little shaky. Yeah, it's a little convoluted. But the truth is, I still appreciate what Microsoft. I think that's another angle that Microsoft is going, that Sony would also have to catch up to. How do you open up your system so that anyone, anywhere, can still interact within your ecosystem? Microsoft has found it, basically it's translated that to saying, we own Windows, we own all these desktops, we can do this. Sony doesn't have the desktop presence, they don't really have the handheld presence, so how do they create that synergy? You know,
but I think the other part too is that, you know, I'm going to do a build later this month, probably towards the end or beginning of August, of a $600 VR gaming PC. $600. Before that used to be $1,000. Now you can do it for $600. So, you know, like to Juan's point of, you know, he would either rather just upgrade his system, or if he didn't have one, he could have just spent $600, like I will show you guys, and he would have a system that's capable of gaming and doing VR content.
Well, and also, I mean, like, what I think people sort of ignore about console gaming versus PC gaming is, so why don't you try and do the math on the gaming experience you can have over the first year of owning the product? You know what I mean? Yeah. So say you put together a $600 PC, and then you go and hit a Steam sale,
Summer sale.
You know, versus putting, you know, buying a $400 console and then buying games, even used games, at 30 to 40 bucks a pop.
Yeah.
You know, so unless you're like really a really savvy shopper and you're able to kind of sniper them off of other like community or bargain bargain sites.
Yeah.
But you know, if you troll a GameStop, then you'll save $5 whole on a used game.
And then when you sell it back, you lose
$30.
$53 on selling that game back to them.
Especially if it's Madden. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That is like the worst ripoff on the planet. Completely.
So you know, like when you put all of that together, it's like PC gaming actually becomes a pretty cost-effective way, and I mean, like, I've seen some, like, if you go to the PC build sites, like on Reddit, or PC Parts Picker. Is that PC?
Yeah, PC Parts Picker. Yeah.
And you see what some people have come up with for resolution dependent. So, like, if you just want something that matches console quality, or just barely exceeds it, like you really do want a consistent 1080p higher frame rate. Maybe you're not always maxing out at 60 frames per second, but you know, like you're at least pulling like cinema high frame rate frames, like $400.
$400. Yeah, you can do four to 500. Yeah,
like that's not impossible. So I don't know. I mean, like, I think we're sort of at the renaissance of PC gaming again, especially with VR hitting.
Yeah, and the new cards that are cost effective and things.
That new AMD is sick.
You know, I mean, I was talking to someone and they were like, "Wait, so it's 200?" I'm like, "It's 200 for the 4 gig version. It is 240 for the 8 gig version of that card."
And if you got one of the more reference designs, you might have actually gotten the 8 gig card.
Exactly. Yeah, and then you can now run both of them in Crossfire, and you're getting the same performance as a 1080. And the 1080, I mean, 1080 prices are still gouging up there, but you're getting good performance, and you only spend $500 for 2 cards, or even one. Yeah. Just $200.
The 1080s aren't that pricey anymore, are they?
No, they're still up there because you can't get them.
They're still the top of the line cards, so they're still expensive. But
yeah, I mean, the 1080 is $699, but official pricing MSRP $699. You can go find it for $699 somewhere.
Oh yeah, you find it lower.
Yeah, that's what I mean by it. The price is just gouge off the wazoo. So I mean, you know, and then because of that, you know, what they call it? NVIDIA just announced a GTX 1060, which should match the RX 480 in terms of pricing and performance. So. You know, and that we'll see how that is too. So right now, I mean, it's such a weird thing. You know, NVIDIA gave us the high-end cards, and then AMD's like, you don't need to spend that much to get VR. Here's $200. You can buy this. So now, like you said, that PC renaissance has come back where we're like, whoa, I don't have to get that expensive. You know, like, you know how we got the GTX 980s and the 980 Ti's, where you're like, whew. You know, you spend good money and it's a good card, but it's also put your PC build at such a high price. You know.
So do we know what? Because I'm way out of the loop. This used to be a topic that I would have like memorized every spec on everything. Do we know what AMD's strategy is for more expensive cards moving forward?
It might not come out this year.
They're really slow playing this, aren't they?
They're slow playing this because I think because of 2 things. First, when NVIDIA announced the GTX 1080, there was such a huge upswell, and everyone was like, "Wow, finally I can get a card almost as even slightly better than a Titan X for just $600." Mm-hmm. And then rumors started coming out that the AMD card was $200, and everybody was like, wait a minute, 200? Can this perform? And then we've seen, you know, reviews. I mean, some people have said it overheats a little bit, but things like that. But a new update just came out to fix most of that. Mm-hmm. And now they have this $200 card, and now they are kind of stating that they may not release that high-end cards either the end of the year because they're gaming NVIDIA, because NVIDIA wants to release a TI, and their high-end card is going to match the TI at the cost of a 1070. So that's what they're trying to do, to say, look, our low-end card is doing well, people like it, and it's going to sell. So we might as well game with you and see when you release the TI and say, hey, well, this is a high-end card, and it's the same thing as the TI, and it only costs, you know, $500.
That makes sense.
So I think that's where they're playing the game right now, because it's easier to get an RX 480 now than any of the GTX 1080s or 1070s.
I'm really thinking about going to AMD. for my next card, because I really don't like how NVIDIA handled the initial launch of GTX 970s, the RAM issue. And that's what I'm using right now. I'm thinking I'm going to jump ship. So I want that higher price point to see what AMD can do with a more expensive card. But I might just, if they come out with sort of a mildly bumped up version of what they've got right now, and it's like $250, then I might grab one.
Yeah. All right. Let's jump ship and move on to mobile now. That there's a lot of cell phones all over the place being announced left and right. First thing, of course, is Samsung has announced its event, 7Unpacked2016 for the Galaxy Note 7. We know that it's August 2nd.
Are you sure it's for the Galaxy Note 7?
Yeah, it says 7 Unpacked. That's the
no, because they might be unpacking 7 phones.
You know what? Forget you.
Or maybe it's the stylus. Maybe the stylus up top, right above the announcement. Maybe that's what it means.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a bunch of freaking stupid stylus that makes a circle. Okay, we get it.
I hope Samsung's coming out with the new 7-inch tablet.
No, they're coming out with a 7-inch stylus. That's what it says to me.
Hey, size isn't everything when it comes to styluses.
Put up the invite so people see what we're talking about. So it's so obvious it's the Note 7.
One second, let me look for the image itself, because it was one of those things where I was like, Samsung, really? You guys didn't have to do this. You really didn't have to do it this way, but yeah, there it is. So
basically, you have 7 Unpacked with the stylus right on top of it, in case you missed it, just in case. And then there's a circle with a bunch of stylized-looking things.
Stylized styluses.
I don't know, guys. I'm not sold. I don't mean anything really.
Once I saw this, I'm like, dude, you guys. Very obvious, Samsung. Very obvious.
But here's the kicker, though. I mean, word is that it might be available right away. Pre-orders might be that very day, right after the press announcement. Wow. So it looks like Samsung is going on. And also, there's a bunch of leaked images right now of a device, I believe, showing its dual-edge screen, the iris scanner, the app for it. I had this discussion with Kevin the Tech Ninja, and he said, he was going, he's like, why an iris scanner? It's not necessary. I was like, well, your fingerprints can be. Your fingerprints is left everywhere, and if you're looking at business users and you want to push, dual authentication, you can throw both if you want to, that kind of thing.
I was going to say government work.
Yeah,
I kind of don't want fingerprint sensors.
Sensors, exactly. So if you want to push into that market more, the iris scanner. I mean, your retina is.
Now,
almost...
did you use my line, E? Did you tell Kevin the Tech Ninja, like, well, yeah, I mean, think about it. Your password is left on everything you touch.
I didn't say that specifically, but I said
it's very difficult to graft.
I want people to steal that. So please, whenever someone's complaining about like security and encryption and like making your devices more secure, like I really want that idea.
No, I was actually trying to remember what you said, and I was just like, your fingerprint is left everywhere. I was like typing.
Yeah,
I can't remember what he said. I'm
not calling you out. I'm actually saying like, no, please steal it, because I think that's the part of the conversation that we need to have is what makes for a good password.
Yeah.
Is it good that your password is left on everything you touch?
Yes.
Probably not.
So yeah, it will be interesting to see, but it looks like right away Samsung is looking to do a big push for this device. Now in terms of hardware specs, we've heard rumors that it might not be 6 gigs of RAM, it might be 4, blah blah blah. We don't know, but
I gotta say, like, I think this might end up being how do I want to say this? Because I don't want to piss people off, but I'm concerned that this Note might feel like the iPhone 6s felt for Apple fans last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where if the Note is now playing catch up to the S series, then that's not as exciting for Note fans.
Yeah. Well,
and like a number of people out there who are like, well, why didn't I just get a Galaxy S7 Edge at the beginning of the year if it was just going to be the same basic phone?
Yeah, true. So we'll have to see what they throw in there that makes it a little bit more useful. Maybe just some really improved S Pen functionality in terms of more things you can do. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
I just, I think the thing that makes me a little twitchy is that I also used to turn to the Note for being the vanguard for like new camera features.
Yeah.
So for stuff like that, now it's like, well, yeah, I can just, it's already on the Galaxy S7. I've been using the S7 for a while now. I'm pretty much good.
Well, hopefully they give us at least, I don't think so, but if they give us a new camera,
I don't
new
think
camera
so.
optics. I know, I agree. I'm hoping.
So did I break down? No, I think I did that on the Pocket Now podcast. But so my hope is if the Note 7 is basically just playing catch up to the S7 Edge, is that for a Note 8, hopefully what we get is that rumored 2/3 inch camera sensor that Samsung was supposedly working on. So that for next year, the Note is actually the new Vanguard product again. And then the S can stick with the 1/2 inch sensors, and we have an actual hardware delineation between those two product lines for things like camera optics.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that under my wild speculation of unlikely, but I'm still hoping that that's what we get.
Yeah. Anything you'd like to see, Sam? Because I mean, you're the Note guy. Plus, you use the Note.
I'm pretty pleased with the Note 5 right now. I'm kind of a little bummed that we don't have a Note 6 coming out, and they totally,
No, we did. No, your Note 5 is a Note 6 because there's a Galaxy Note Edge.
Oh, what? What was I imagining?
That was
That is not magic. I'm just kidding about the Note 6. No, I think it's a great device, but the only thing I can probably think of it being improved is the fingerprint scanner. It could be a little faster.
Yes,
that's one thing. And also, when you're using the stylus, it's just kind of odd the way you have to hit the button. They can make the stylus feel a little better. So there are a few things here and there that you can actually do to make the phone a little better. But overall, the 5 is a solid device. Anything they do that's an improvement on this, to me, it's fine. But if they take away things, then that's when I'll have an issue. If the camera is not as good, then I'll have an issue. Because the camera is that good sometimes.
Well, but I mean, again, I think Samsung made the right play. I think out of most of the companies that put out sort of different or lower resolution cameras this year, I think Samsung really does have the better approach.
Camera strategy, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not because their sensor or their optics are so much different. It's really the software that backs it up. So for all the people that are out there complaining, like, who was it? Phone Arena did like a shootout with 6 cameras recently or something like that.
And
one of the things that I think
Samsung lost that one.
No, the 1+ 3 got this glowing recommendation, and the
Samsung.
And in this scene, it's too bright, and the over sharpening is so problematic. And you're like, I don't see what you're seeing, but okay, that's your opinion on that.
Wait.
That's why I don't like camera reviews and camera comparisons where they only show like 9 photos. Like that's all they. Anyway, so the thing that I think people overlook about a Samsung camera though is shooting full auto. All it's going to do is try and make the brightest, most saturated image it can, because that's kind of what people filter their photos to look like anyway.
Yeah.
For anyone who cares about their photography, not only do you have a pretty comprehensive set of controls to manually adjust the taking of a photo, I don't think any company has put in as well-featured a set of post-processing options. So if that over-sharpening really bothers you, you can either just shoot RAW and edit the RAW file after the fact, or you can go in and actually tell the camera, stop over-sharpening my photos. Like, you can do that. I think HTC actually started that trend with the HTC One M7, but I think Samsung has refined it to a point where it's a joy to use those features on their camera. So when I look at the Note, like, if the Note just bumps down to the same 12-megapixel image sensor, I think that's going to be fine. I think it's going to be good. But I would really like to see Samsung start using the Note for what the Note originally stood for, which was the bleeding edge, everything in the kitchen sink, the Vanguard smartphone, where we could expect every new top-of-the-line bleeding edge technology that Samsung had in development to go to the Note, because you had the space, you had the size, you had the battery to back it up. That's what I want to see Samsung do again, and that's what makes me nervous about this Note this year, is that I think we'll get USB-C, and then it'll be a Galaxy S7 Edge with an S Pen, not something new.
Yeah. Maybe. But speaking about vanguards for Samsung, the Galaxy S7 outsold the iPhone 6s in the US. Yeah. So it's basically according to market share in the US in 3 months ending in May, the Galaxy S7 sold at 37% compared to the Apple's 29%. So Samsung has been doing some good stuff this year. Any surprises there, or like you said, the 6S is kind of that device that has kind of tapered some of Apple's expectations and also my Apple stock. Sorry, I had to throw that in there because my stock price is going down. Anyway, thoughts?
What do you think, Sam? You go first.
Basically, when you get your hands on the iPhone 6s, you basically see that what was done there was not like a huge leap forward. The thing is, Apple has had a few years of lackluster releases, and their customer base has been able to take them through for wins, quarterly wins each time, or quarterly profits each time, and that's unsustainable, and that's what we're seeing now. That you can't continue to release something that's somewhat lackluster and expecting people to just jump on that bandwagon because they're loyal fans. You need to provide something innovative. You need to provide something that actually is a game changer, and Apple's not doing that. They really are not doing that, and I think this is just an example of people saying, hey, guess what? You might look great, you might provide everything that Samsung does. I don't think Samsung does anything that the S7 does anything that the 6S can't do, but then you go straight to price point. Like how, what can I get, or what do I get if I move over to Android? What do I get, or what's the benefit of doing this? And you tend to see that you no longer want to pay an overpriced, you don't want to pay the Apple premium, and also the closed ecosystem. You can always go over to Android and you get a much more vibrant ecosystem there. And at the end of the day, that might be just what's, kind of puts the nail in the coffin of Apple when it comes to innovation, because if they don't innovate, they're definitely going down.
Mr. Bagnell.
So I agree with Sam's sentiment, but I think I might actually disagree with the reasons why we're seeing it manifest now.
Whoa.
So following, yeah, like let's have a gentlemanly debate.
I agree with this guy and everything he's saying. Whoa, fight!
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna have a gentlemanly debate here, sir. Point of order. So what do we know about Apple in the post Steve Jobs era? And it's a company that is really billing itself as a lifestyle brand, right? So the danger of being a lifestyle brand means that you also need to be a fashion vanguard. Samsung is a technology vanguard. We care about those specs. We care about that performance. We care about all of the widgets and applets and who's its and what's its galore. Apple doesn't build its audience on the same technology prowess, obviously, because we're talking about specs that we were already starting to get tired of on Android about 2 years ago in terms of like screen resolution and camera sensor size and things like that. So the danger for Apple is their TikTok strategy makes it really difficult for you to be on the pulse of fashion. If you come out with hardware one year and the only thing you can add the next year is a different color option, fashion-savvy consumers who tend to be a bit more fickle about what's in style that season aren't going to keep following you if the phone doesn't change or the phone doesn't bring something new to the table. I mean, and new to the table not in technology, new to the table in terms of how does it complement my fashion's lifestyle,
Aesthetics.
And I think this is really sticky territory because from everything that I've seen of the iPhone 7, it's also not going to be a clear visual identifier for people who want to show off the newest iPhone.
Yeah.
And I think that was the biggest problem with the 6S is if you make your phone a fashion lifestyle piece, when people pull it out, they want it to be a talking point, just like wearing a new nice fancy watch. You pull out an iPhone 6S, and unless you got it in pink, and it's not rose gold, that's pink. Unless you got it in pink, no one was going to know that you bought the new one.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the iPhone 7 is going to bring that conversation to the table as readily either. If it looks as close to the iPhone 6S as all of these leaks and rumors are pointing to. So that to me becomes the really dangerous territory for Apple. Is the smartphone is pretty well understood as being a rectangular slab with a screen. How do you keep making that feel fresh and inventive and fashionable and stylish when we're looking at design? And I think that's where Apple has gotten really complacent. And I think their TikTok strategy, going with an iPhone 6 and then a 6S, a 7 and a 7S,
might
takes
need to
too long.
stop. Yeah,
they need to stop doing it. In fact, what they need to do is get rid of the home button, because then that'll be a clear visual identifier that something's different on their phones. They need to go to some other type of manufacturing material. Like, they don't need to stick with metal. They could do carbon fiber, they could do Kevlar, they could do any number of different materials to make their phone stand out, and then it'll be a talking point again. Then it'll be, oh, you spent money on the new one. Yeah. Show me the new one. What does the new one do? People don't care about what the new one can do, but they want to see what the new one looks like. And then they'll start the conversation about, oh, what does the new one do? The same thing that the old one does, but now it's in carbon fiber. You know, like that's what that's where Apple got themselves stuck.
Well, but just the amount of people who use the Apple products, just the iPhone, I don't think there's so many people who have that kind of disposable income to.
I think Apple built their brand on people who had that kind of a disposable income.
Right
now, the PC tax.
Right now, when you're on the bus or on a train in New York City and you see people with iPhones, these aren't people. A lot of people who use iPhones are regular folks that don't. I would view as not having a disposable income to just throw on a new iPhone. So to me, they're making an actual economic choice about what the benefits they get.
No. But I mean, like Sam, people buy a phone and then try and ride it out for 3 years now. I mean, but a lot of those people that you see probably got them on some kind of zero down leasing plan, or
but again, there is the monthly plan now, where you can always change your phone, which I have my iPhone. I will change when the 7 comes out. So I think that's not even the issue anymore. It's the fact that people are not seeing the need to change, like to Juan's point, from the iPhone 5, which is why they made the SE, because people refuse to move.
I can't tell you how many family members I have that when I talk to them about their phones, like Marie's cousin was just in town recently, and he has an iPhone 5, and he doesn't want to get rid of it because he doesn't like the bigger iPhones. He's played with the 6S that his wife has. He doesn't like it. And so we're having this conversation, and I'm like, well, but you know about the iPhone SE, and he's like, well, what's that? Like he had no clue about it, and I even just pull it up on the Apple website. I cannot tell you how stoked he was. All of my cases are still gonna fit. All like the little car dock that I've got for it, that's still gonna work. That's awesome. I'm totally gonna get that phone. Like all of a sudden he's just like snapped. Like that's what he wants.
You hear that, Apple? The Apple evangelist.
I mean, I used to be an Apple product specialist, and it makes me laugh that I'm kind of coming back around because of phones like the iPhone SE. Yeah. So for what Apple's strategy has been, I think they've always been about trying to build themselves as some sort of premium lifestyle brand. Again, what hurts Apple, though, is that the smartphone has become such a commodity. Yeah. Everyone needs to have one. It's not special anymore. So you can't, sort of outprice yourself in this market. It's not like a watch. When someone looks at a Rolex, that sends a signal to another person's brain about what status that person might have. Yeah. We can't do that with smartphones anymore. People don't give a shit.
That is very true.
Smartphones are not, that kind of lifestyle indicator like they used to be. So Apple needs to find other ways of being fashion present, lifestyle present, being at the head of the curve, and then also making sure that they can keep their product evangelists happy for those people who will flip their phone every year. Because the S series phones aren't going to get it done for those folks who want to have the visibility of having the
maybe the strategy might be focusing on an iPhone and the SE line as a separate line entirely, making that continuation for people on that
I'll be really surprised if within the next, and I'm going to say 5 years because Apple is super conservative about how they do hardware. I'll be surprised if in the next 5 years we don't have an Apple phone.
True.
As opposed to an iPhone.
But yeah. Moving on to another company who just dropped a phone this week, talking about the Moto Z.
On that, I'm gonna have to jump off real quick. I have a few things to run.
I heard those sirens in the background, Sam. They're coming for you, son.
I know. I gotta run.
So, all right,
that
Sam.
was racist. I'm sorry.
But we're talking about the Moto Z Droid and the Moto Z Droid Force. Now, you've had some time with it. We were at the event in San Francisco, and now we have it in-house. So quick thoughts. I know you've used it for 7-10 hours, something like that.
For a day.
Yeah. So what do you think so far? Because we can't necessarily review it, but just give you some thoughts of what.
Yeah. So like, if you don't mind me being sort of upfront with your audience, like I was trying to be with our audience too, it's we're still under embargo.
Yeah.
Like this is a loose embargo where we're not really allowed to fully review, but we can share some of our thoughts and some of our experiences, and ultimately very positive. I don't know that I've been this excited to play with a Motorola since the X2. When the X2 Moto Maker went live and we could really dig into like leather backplates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What Motorola is doing here is very interesting. I do have some criticisms. I think you need to use a backplate because the exposed pin look doesn't look great, and I do worry about making sure surfaces like this, like I want to keep these clean.
Yeah.
So I think you need to have some kind of backplate on. But playing between the two phones, I'm definitely digging the battery life on the Z Force so far.
Oh yeah, yes.
That's really nice. And like just like to add punishment to it, like I've got the Z Force with the Toomey battery pack on.
Oh come on, really?
Yeah, I mean like this poor Moto Z like really needs it, but like the Z Force, nope, I want stupid battery life. Let's do it.
For me though, this has been my.
Oh, those JBLs are nice.
This audio from this thing, I was listening to some Frank Sinatra, and it was just bellowing.
Now, don't you feel like they've improved that since the Lenovo Tech World?
Maybe, I don't know.
It sounds better to me than what we were playing with at Tech World.
Well, I just kind of attributed it to location, acoustics, and also just the fact that it was loud.
Yeah,
in there. So I didn't really pay too much attention. I was like, I'll wait till I get it. But audio on this thing is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I had some friends come over yesterday, and I just dropped it now. And they're like, wow, it's pretty good. I was like, phone. So yeah.
The few criticisms I have, I don't love the fingerprint sensor down at the bottom.
I do.
I just wish it weren't such a small square. It's a hard target for me to reach the way that you train the phone.
What I like it though is the fact that you can use it to lock your phone.
So I'm glad you said that, because I don't have a problem with that, but it's unfamiliar.
True.
I'm so used to fingerprint sensors that double as home buttons. So I'm still in that muscle memory period where when I want to go home, I end up turning my phone off.
Yeah.
So that definitely requires new muscle memory to be created before you can kind of really get the hang of using that phone. And I know a lot of people on initial reaction are not going to like that.
Yeah,
I've been trained by other phones to not do it that way.
But I like it. It's a cool feature, and you can use any finger. It does not the finger that you actually use coded for. Right. Unlocking, you can use anything as long as you just.
And then the other criticism I have is like I don't love the power button, volume button arrangement.
Yeah. That's why the fingerprint sensor is the lock button. I think it's almost, to me, it was like they designed it and then they were like, yeah, let's just lock it right here with the fingerprint sensor. Right. I agree with you. The location there is a little weird.
And there's this really poor button feel. So like I keep overreaching, like I keep hitting volume down when I mean to hit the power button, and I don't know what it is that my hand it reaches too far.
I think you should just restrain your hand to use the fingerprint sensor. I'm serious. It might save you more time than doing that.
Yeah, that's probably true.
But yes, I mean, so far it seems like, at least I would say, we like what we see. And we definitely, of course, we do reviews of the different motor mods and all that stuff. But I mean, they have something here. I will say that. I'll say that they have something interesting, and it's just how it plays out, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, to me, they might be hurt with their exclusivity, and how soon they release the international version or the unlocked version. That's where everything comes down to play.
Because I mean, anytime you start running up into that time of year when people are looking at new Nexus phones, the new iPhone,
new Galaxies coming out in a month,
the Note, that's bad territory to try and make your case then.
Yeah. Moving on to another phone manufacturer, ZTE pre-orders are now available for the Axion 7. It's going to be priced at $400. We have a link for you guys down below if you want to go ahead and pre-order. Comes out July 27th. Just to let you know, ZTE is having an event on Monday, so in New York, so I'll be there, and I'll let you guys know if I get my hands on the device or if it's for something else. I really don't know. But so far with the pre-orders, you get a free $100 headset with it. Yeah, he's showing off the projector for the Moto Z Force.
I was going to try and distract you while
I wasn't paying attention. But ZTE, I mean, the ZTE device comes with you get a free $100 headset. It comes with Dolby Atmos audio, 20 megapixel camera. I mean, this looks like it's a very tough space, because there's another device that we also got hands on, was the Alcatel.
Yep.
The Alcatel Idol 4S. I know you said you haven't actually started working on the device yet, just because there's so many devices out there. Yeah. I will tell you, try the speakers on the Alcatel. It's good.
I'm actually super excited. Me not having jumped on the 4S just yet has nothing to do with, like, I'm really excited to be playing with another Alcatel. I loved the Idol 3.
Yeah.
It's just, I thought it was a baller phone for that price point. So I'm hoping the 4S does the
It's
same.
got 4 speakers, man. 2 in the front, 2 in the back. They call it 360 audio. So it doesn't matter what position you put the phone in. It just sounds robust.
That's cool.
I mean, you can drop it face down and your music still plays, and there's no, so you don't have that issue of like, I have to put my phone a certain way so I can hear, the speakers or anything like that. And it's available for pre-order now too. I'll leave the link for you guys also. That is $350 if you pre-order it now, but once it comes out, it's $399. But it comes with a case from Incipio, comes with a screen protector, not the soft one, but actually this glass screen protector. Comes with a VR headset also with that too, and a bunch of VR content already is preloaded for you. So I mean, it's a tough world out there. I mean,
yeah, I'm actually like, we're going to be putting out our full Moto G, the Moto G4 reviews.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that too. I just did my review.
And I'm wrapping up the Moto G review, and like, man, there are so many phones that are right around this price point now. Like, this is a really tough market to try and rise to the top of.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I might have to do a battle of the $400 phones, man, because there are quite a few devices.
Well, and that we keep, it sort of encourages that kind of shopping, where, like, let's say you start with a Moto G4 at $200. Well, at like $230, you can get more storage. Well, at like $250, you can get the fingerprint sensor. At $300, you can get the fingerprint sensor and 64 gig of storage and a better camera.
And 4 gigs of RAM.
At $350, you can get an Alcatel 4S, but at $400, you can get, I mean, like, it's like the feature creep now. It's like there's a phone in every dollar amount
yeah,
you want to spend.
It's very true. So it'll be interesting. We have a question here from Nerva Deshmukh, who says, should I buy the OnePlus 3 or wait for the Moto Z?
I think you probably want to set your budgets appropriately. Like, if your budget is for a OnePlus 3, then you probably won't be shopping a Moto Z.
Yeah. Good answer. Yeah, thank you.
But I mean, like, if you're just saying phone to phone to phone, like, you're the Moto Z is looking to do battle with HTC 10s and Galaxy S7s.
Yeah, like that, in that price range. Yeah, so it's a lot of phones. So stay tuned. We will have phone coverage up the wazoo for you guys.
Big time.
Moving on to some other stuff. T-Mobile is riding high, man. I mean, T-Mobile is offering deals left and right like it's Christmas in the middle.
Those net neutrality killing jerks.
Yes, T-Mobile just dropped. Well, I'm going to read the title here from Pocket Now. T-Mobile drops the mic on rival carriers with free Galaxy phones for every family member.
I did not write that article.
I know you did. So basically, you can, with the family plan, you can get a different Galaxy device. We'll receive like a Galaxy on 5, the J7, so different devices for the family. So if you have, you're married, you have wife, kids, you don't want to, of course, give your kids, say, a Galaxy S7, you might give them the on 5, things like that. So it's helping out in that whole strategy, as long as you get certain plans, which is actually pretty cool. Also, for all you Pokemon Go fans on T-Mobile, it is free to use Pokemon Go, because I know I showed that chart earlier. Pokemon has surpassed Twitter in terms of daily usage.
That's nuts.
Yes.
That's so crazy. I mean, like we're looking at an era where I feel like Twitter might actually start slipping. Like, I think in 2 years we'll talk about Twitter like we talked about MySpace.
I'm sure you're right here. Yeah, this Pokemon Go usage time against WhatsApp, Instagram, Snapchat, Messenger, Twitter isn't up there. I think it just passed Twitter recently, but that's what Pokemon Go is right now.
That's insane.
So T-Mobile says if you're doing that, it's free. You don't waste your data on it.
Look at T-Mobile picking winners and losers so that other apps don't get the same benefit, and that really sucks for net neutrality.
Yeah. But customers don't care, right?
No, they don't.
They're like, yeah, awesome. You can play Pokemon Go. Yeah, so it is what it is. Let's see, what else do we have in terms of topics? Yeah, this one is awesome. Netflix created its own sharing site called Flicktape, where you can set up to 5 shows that you have on Netflix and share it with friends. So I have my own mixtape for you guys. It's called Thunder E Action Mix 1, and see some of the action geared shows that I have. And actually will show you right here. Let me share my screen. Boom.
I'm pulling up your
bam. There it is. Look at that. Of course, Ip Man, Donnie Yen, right there. And what else do we have? You can see Marco Polo, The Flash, Deep Space Nine,
right on.
Kung Fury. Got to have it all there. So it's a cool way. Now, it's nice that Netflix is doing it. I wish they tied it more into the Netflix app, made it a little bit easier to do it that way. But it's still a nice way to share what you're watching, because now we live in a world where we share shows. It's all about shows. I mean, we're doing a recap of Mr. Robot. That's what we're watching now for the summer, and it's all about the shows you watch. It's not the stations or the channels, or if you have whatever packages. It's, do you watch Mr. Robot? No, I don't. You need to watch it. That's it. That's how it is. So, it's the same thing. So I think this is a nice one. So I encourage you guys to do it. Share yours with friends. Definitely watch all the shows I told you to watch. You have no choice, actually.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah,
But no, I think this is a fun thing for Netflix, right? They've been trying to push like more social interaction, notifications from the app, which I always instantly disable the second like they ask me if they want me to send notifications. So it's not like I want you to just spam me, but I want you to find ways that we can actually interact. And I would love for Netflix to bring back user reviews as being a part of the platform. I liked reading through those terrible, awful user reviews that people would put on movies and TV shows. And you can't get that. It's so difficult to get to those user reviews now. They don't pop up in the Windows app. They don't pop up in the Android app. It's like I have to go and actually open up a web browser.
That's the thing that Netflix needs to push now. They need to push that social element on Netflix itself.
Yeah.
And make it an extent, because literally I should know I should be able to link, even if they link it through Facebook, that might be the easiest way to link it, right? To have all your friends connected and go, as I'm watching my new anime, I hit share. And then it just goes, I'm like, Juan, you need to check this out. Like, I'm sending it to you directly that way. Like something like that, where it's now easier to tell your friends what you're watching, discuss about it, and pick up new things.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So.
Yeah, it's time, Netflix. I mean, I hope that what we see from this like Flicktape, this Netflix mixtape service, is that's part of their strategy moving forward, is better interaction like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's it. We've gone an hour 22 minutes ahead.
It's so like time travel in real time.
Yes, I know. So we've gotten to that point of the show where we ask, of course, the host, and since Juan just disappeared, it's just going to be Juan and myself about what we have on our channels and what we can expect next week. So I'll start off with you, of course, Mr. Juan Bagnell.
So much Motorola. So I'm wrapping up the G4 review today. I don't know if I'm going to put it out over the weekend, but if I don't, it'll be first thing Monday morning. Then of course it's all Moto Z all the time until we can finally lift that embargo where we can deliver the full real review. I'm going to be doing the full camera review. We're going to be talking headphone stats, all that fun stuff. And then at the same time, I'm also going to be cracking into that mysterious blue box back there, which I'm also technically not allowed to talk about, but if you know your phone packaging, then you already know what that is, because that's also under embargo too, and we already talked about it during this broadcast, so it's a mystery, but not a very good mystery.
Yeah. Well, that blue box is the Alcatel Idol 4S. My unboxing's up there, which I could do. And we have a cool one. I call it How to Waterproof Your Galaxy S7. Now, some people are like, it's already waterproof. No, it's a water-resistant phone.
Water-resistant phone.
So it's a case from Ghost Tech Automatic that waterproofs the device for up to a meter for 30 minutes. Now, I try to simulate that in my bathtub, which is not a meter deep, but it was very dry. The phone was very dry while playing a review of the Moto G4, which is also on there in the video for you guys. So there's that. There's also the Acer Aspire S13 Touch, which we saw at the Acer event. I absolutely love this laptop. It's nothing fancy in the sense like it doesn't have a 4K display or anything like that. It's a standard 1080p display, a lovely looking 1080p display. It's about 13 hours battery life. I think they claim about 13, 14, and I got pretty much close to that on just, browsing usage. In terms of video, I would say it's about 7 to 8 because we watched a soccer game and it went to penalties. Plus, I still use it afterward. Yeah, it's about 7 to 8 or so. I'm just trying to give rough estimates there, but it's a really it's absolutely lovely laptop. I mean,
one other thing that I would love for your audience to weigh in on. Sorry to interrupt, just because I know we're trying to wrap this up. Is so I put out a video on Pocket Now, detailing why everyone is wrong and why we should all have 4K screens on our phones. So I would love for people to check that out and try and tell me how I'm wrong.
I would agree with you. You know me and 4K screens, man.
Yeah, I say we go for it, right?
Everywhere, baby.
When did tech geeks become so conservative? Like, well, it's like a problem of performance and battery life. And you're like, well, the Galaxy S7 outperforms the OnePlus 3 for battery life with the same size battery, and they both have AMOLED screens. So don't you think if we had 4K displays, like they would improve over a year to be pretty much fine? Mm-hmm. Well, but no, because of the processing power and the stuff. And you're like, well, no, that's like, why do you hate progress? Why do you hate progress?
Okay, I'll give you this one, right? When I spoke to the guys at Alcatel while we were talking about the Idol 4S, and I'd said, you guys went with a 2K display. They're like, well, we're trying to push VR, and right now that's the best display we can get, and we want to give you the best VR content.
Right.
So
you need more resolution.
So I'll put it out there for you guys because I'm going to do a OnePlus versus an Alcatel Idol 4S next week. OnePlus 3 will lose on display, just hands down.
So in my opinion, and notice how I'm going to say that, and then people are going to try and act like I'm making some sort of objective scientific. But in my opinion, the OnePlus 3's display loses to the OnePlus 2.
It's a display that I don't know if you noticed it with yours. Like I just started noticing. It's like after the review, it starts getting yellow. It gives me this yellow tint.
So did you go in and adjust the color space?
No, I haven't done that yet.
I would recommend doing that because I know what you're talking about, and it's not a feature. It's not like night shift mode or anything.
No, it was during the daytime too. I was like,
but even the stock Android color shift, like I set mine to be a little bluer, and it seemed to help with that issue. Like it didn't look so urine soaked. But regardless, the screen is dimmer, and after so much time spent on quad HD displays, the screen on the OnePlus 3 looks fuzzier to me than the screen on the OnePlus 2.
Yeah.
Now, that's obviously like I'm holding the phones right next to each other because I have both of them in house right now. But
very scientific, of course.
But you know, if I can discern some difference there, what I want to get to is a point where the visual acuity of the human optical system at its maximum, like the theoretical human with near perfect eyesight, could never discern pixels on their screen, no matter how close or how far the phones are from their face. And the only way to do that is to make the jump to 4K.
I definitely agree. 4K is what you need. 4K is life. 4K is everything. 4K is like tap water.
Bam.
Done. Not really tap water. It's more like, sorry, it's like mineral water. Sparkling.
It's like mother's milk to a baby.
Yeah. Boom. Okay. Yes. And of course,
we can end it now.
Of course, on the channel next week will be more Moto, Alcatel Idol 4S, the Acer Switch 12. If I can drop that review,
right on. Which
is their Surface competitor. And I might have a build for you guys next week. Again, so it all depends. There's a lot of stuff. If not, it would just be phones at this point. So anyway, I want to say thank you to everyone for chiming in. I'm sorry we couldn't answer that many questions in the chat, although it looks like it's flowing pretty well. And leave your questions on the in the comment section, and then I'll definitely come back and answer those questions for you. And you can check out Mr. Juan Bagnell. He's at Pocket Now. He is one of the guys at Pocket Now. He makes all the videos and does all that stuff and does, and go vote. Go vote for his fireworks camera battle.
Yeah, we're wrapping that up.
Him and Adam. I placed my vote yesterday. I can tell you who I voted for. And I'm sorry,
Adam, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I did.
You jerk.
I'm sorry. Look, I said it, man. You had the better scene.
I did. But the challenge was the fireworks photo. But I still think that people should vote for me because I'm awesome. So
okay, so there you have it. Besides my snitching and going to the dark side there, please vote for Mr. Juan Bagnell.
Snitch.
Yeah. But yeah, you can check him out. And also, if you want to follow him on Twitter, it is Some Gadget Guy, and he has awesome videos, and he does some really good in-depth stuff, unlike me, who just stays in front of the camera and does quick stuff anyway at Booredatwork. So if you want quick and painless, subscribe to Booredatwork, and also follow us on Twitter. It's still Booredatwork. So it's Thunder E saying thank you, and always enjoy your entertainment.